Okay, hopefully Justin will join us. So I'll call this meeting to order, Bennington Select Board on the 16th of December, Monday, 2013 at 5:30. The first item on the agenda, the minutes for 9 December.
I'll move they be accepted as printed.
And second that.
Okay, any discussion on the minutes? All in favor? So that's 6-4, one absent.
Great job,
Okay,
Linda.
next item are the warrants, and they've been passed around. Any issues? And we'll start with Jimmy down at the end. Any questions on warrants? John?
Nope, all set.
Tom?
They look great.
Greg?
I have two questions.
Good.
Page 3, bottom of the page, 305749, digital monitoring. There's a series of those. Just curious as to what those.
305-743. What did you say?
749.
749.
It's that first line security.
First line
Oh, yeah.
security.
Yeah, those are all related to alarms at various remote buildings.
Okay, so a subscription type of thing.
Yeah.
I'll just keep an eye on. Okay. Then bottom of page 6, going to page 7. Series of checks to the town of Bennington. Is that just departments paying departments?
Those
305.
are water and sewer fees.
Okay.
So they're all being paid to the water and sewer department from other buildings.
That's what I figured. All right, that's
Sure.
all I got.
No, I have nothing.
Okay, so we're just on page 3. You probably know what it is, but the abbreviation VIBRS charge for $12,000. for
Beavers,
public
that's the
safety.
Vermont Investigation Bureau. It's a communication system that we pay to the state of Vermont.
Okay, so we own it?
No,
Or is this-
we lease it.
We lease it,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. That's
It
in
connects us to the state police.
That's in the warrants. Okay, any citizens have anything? Sam, you have anything you want to say?
Were you?
You're here, you're a citizen.
Okay. Do I have to sign in? or-
Well,
No?
just
Okay.
state your name, Sam, for the record, and, let us
Samuel
know.
C. Racino, Bennington, Vermont.
Maybe you can come over here, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right there, Sam.
Merry Christmas to all. Just a few thoughts in my head. I keep thinking about attracting businesses into Bennington, and I know the VA is looking into getting solar panels to be installed. I was just wondering if the select board members have been thinking about getting solar panels onto other businesses, schools. There's a vacant property, the old El Carroll building. You can't put, that's a brownfields building. There was talk many years ago, or a couple years ago, about putting solar arrays on the landfill. And of course, you couldn't do that because you break the concentration. But since this is so close to downtown, I can't help vision solar panels on that property along with a brook that runs through, dam it up a little bit, and you can generate hydropower and funnel that electricity to downtown businesses and maybe cut our electrical bill down.
As a matter of fact, Sam, Stu and I have been talking about that since shortly after I got elected, and there was a consultant that I sent your way. Has anything further happened with that?
We've looked at another, the main building that we've looked at was the recreation center, and there is concern about the structural strength of the flat roofs where the panels would be placed. So we've kind of put that on hold. Obviously, we ran into a whole host of other problems at the center that we dealt with. But we do have the solar array that's going out by Barney Road. Are you familiar with the site just before the bridge?
Oh, okay, yes.
We've got a contract.
Right.
Will generate quite a bit of power, save the town something in the range of $200,000 over the life of the contract, 20 years or
So
so.
it's being slowly implemented.
Well, you know, we also have, we're net metering with Bill Scully from Pembroke Village on that hydro there.
Yep.
We're doing that, plus, you probably remember we did something up the water plant,
Yes, we've been
4 or 5 years ago, that inline thing,
Mhm.
there's a
Inline
thing
hydro.
there, and that's
Right.
taking care of the power there. Just,
Actually, no, the folks that were at the landfill have moved out to Barney.
Oh, so they're not.
And of course, we
it's
have
on additional.
one property
They would
that,
better.
behind the old Dunkin' Donuts, of course, Jim looks at it all the time, there's a solar array
yeah,
that's on that
yeah.
Yeah,
personal
we don't
property.
own that property.
No, I know,
So,
I'm just-
You know, whatever happens there would have to happen with an active owner.
Right,
But couldn't the flat roofs, particularly on this building, the police station, couldn't those be used?
Yeah, but, I mean, you really want to be able to put them, I think, where they're gonna generate sufficient power to give us dramatic savings. I mean, it depends on whether you're looking at solar hot water, or whether you're trying to generate electricity and sell it back into the
The
network.
grid.
And, I mean, we haven't seriously looked at this building or the police facility. The police facility actually is not a flat roofed building.
No, I'm just speaking
The
about
parapets actually disguise the fact that it's.
building a strong relation with Green Mountain Power and setting up arrays. I mean, you saw on the banner with our governor was throwing a switch at a, I don't know what school it was, they put a solar array around. So it is starting to be implemented around
Yeah.
Vermont, it does take
Mhm.
time. Second nature, as you
Well,
know.
let me finish, if you're
Well-
finished on power, as you know, I'm working with the one on the vet cell, it's gonna
Yes.
save us about 25%, but I'll keep the town informed as far as the negotiations goes with that company. It may be something that we'll be able to look at, but, when you look at the amount of, electricity it's gonna generate, the permitting process is with the Public Service Board and nothing local, so,
Right,
you know, no matter whether we want it or not, the Public Service Board's gonna be the last one to decide whether or not,
Yea
it
or
can go
nay.
there, yeah.
right. Everybody is focusing on natural gas. We've got Union Carbide that's getting natural gas. And I spoke to Stu about this, and of course, this is many years going down the road, could be 15, 20 years, but I see in the future where natural gas line is coming down through the state of Vermont, and eventually it's gonna be starting to come into Bennington. I was just wondering if the select board has started to implement where this natural gas line possibly could come into town. The reason factor is it could generate economic development for businesses coming into town, because I'm a propane guy, but people are going natural gas, so. It's something to really think about.
Not to
Well,
mention
natural
that
gas
it's
are-
much cheaper as
yeah.
well for anybody using it at their own house as well.
Right.
So then you have a few
And
more
of course,
dollars
the
in the
big,
pocket.
the biggest question is convincing our hospital to possibly use natural gas, and that's many years down the road, but that would be,
Well, actually, I understand those discussions are taking place. The same folks who are supplying the natural gas to Eveready and Energizer, hasn't been Union Carbide in years.
I'm sorry, I'm
Or
old school. That's what it
Everett,
is.
for that matter.
Energizer for those of you at home.
But I understand they've approached the hospital. They're approaching some of the other major customers that would generate, but they're gonna truck it in.
Right, I understand.
And at this point, any main line coming down through this part of the state is far off in the distance, as I
Mhm.
understand it.
Well, the attempt was made, how many years ago, 20 years ago, where they were gonna bring it down, and they were gonna have a big stack there at, actually Johnson
Oh, yeah,
Control
that was-
Site.
It's actually over by the yard
It was
site.
over by the jar site, yeah.
Boy, the town of Bennington went nuts over that one, they got it, well, that plus, even Dean was for
That
it,
was
wasn't
coming
he?
in from New York, though.
Yeah, it was coming from New York, and boy, I tell you, people raised hell over that thing
Which
coming in.
opens up another situation in training with our town fire department. They're trained with propane, they need to be starting to get trained in with natural gas.
Already happening.
Already happening, okay.
And as far as I know, natural gas is used widely in Berkshire County as well. I think the pipeline comes right through the area, right? It's just a matter of somebody wanting to
Yes,
tap
it's
and
piped.
deliver it. So there's other issues with natural gas too, that people, there are people on the, the net 350 side will argue that natural gas is a more carbon-rich emissions than what we're using. So there's some friction there as well on the political side. But it is considered an advantage in the US to have access to natural gas
Right.
manufacturing. And it is in the area, not that far away.
Well, most of, when you think about natural gas, most people think a pipeline instead of
Right.
being trucked in,
Right.
including myself. I
Sure.
stop and think that this is being trucked in.
Where I grew up, everybody had natural gas
Right.
in their house. It's just pipe through town.
Thank you for your time.
Okay,
Thanks,
have a
Sam.
good holiday, Sam.
Yes, you too.
Anybody else? Patrick, you're quiet, nothing? You got a plan? Okay,
Was that
other-
the event, Bill?
anything, Stuart, you wanna give to us?
Well, I put the copy of the letter in your packet that you all asked to sign, that goes to Chuck Schwer, thanking them for the trip here to talk to us about JARD. And I'll just circulate that for your signatures if you're satisfied with it. And also in your packet was a brief memorandum with some line items program changes in the highway fund. When we got looking at the proposal that we gave to you back on December 9th, and because of the projects we had selected, there wasn't sufficient grant monies to offset those paving projects that we were looking at. So in talking with RJ, we pulled some of the paving projects out, and we're suggesting to you that you include the Colville Road Bridge construction project. It's about $500,000. We've already got the plans on the shelf. We used state grant monies from their bridge and culvert program to design the fix. What's happening is you've got one of the abutments on the Colville Road Bridge is laid up stone. And it's being undermined by the south stream that runs underneath it. It's at a very steep, angled turn, and people are constantly sliding into the guardrail there. If the bridge goes under construction, it would be entirely replaced, it would be widened, it would be relocated so that it's much more aligned with the roadway itself. And of course, we can use the fish hatchery property to get around the bridge when it's closed. As I said, it's about $500,000. We've already talked with the state of Vermont. The maximum grant we can achieve is about $175,000 structures grant. But we're pretty certain that we're gonna be able to get that grant this year. So we're gonna pull the Colville Road Bridge forward, use the monies. The net impact is that we reduce the $244,000 to be raised by taxes down to about $69,000.
Okay,
So would we be able to do that bridge project in the following years if we wanted to push that off?
If you wanted to push the bridge project off, the bridge and culvert monies are good for 2 years. And our original thought was we would hold it and go next year should we get the money. But looking, the impact would have been almost a 3-cent increase in the highway tax rate this year if we didn't make that change. And we wanted to be able to keep our tax rate low while still being productive. And the bridge is a safety hazard. It does need to be done.
Right, but by cutting these tasks, we don't necessarily have to fill it in with something else, do we?
What we've done is we've shifted the funds from the paving projects to the bridge projects. Essentially, the budget, the amount of money we're attempting to raise stays the same. What happens is we get grant money that reduces the amount to be raised by taxes.
and we'll go over again to this.
I just wanted to review it with you so that you kind of understand it. And I can tell you that as we get closer and closer to the project, Melissa's also finding some additional small cuts in the general fund that we'll be actually recommending to you once we get started.
Good. Anything else?
That's it for me.
Tom, other business?
In that packet, maybe what Spring talked about, I know we're gonna be talking about the agencies during the budget process. Was that just for FYI?
Yes.
At this point?
Yes, good point. I didn't mention it, but these are the, what this shows you is the folks who are petitioning and the amount they're petitioning for in yellow. And the only agency we haven't heard from is the North Bennington Recreation. Michelle sent an email over to their clerical staff to try to find out if in fact they'll be asking for money again this year. I suspect they will. It's probably just slipped by them.
So how about the ones needing petitions? Have we heard from them right out there circulating the petitions?
Yes, they are. Visiting nurses in Bennington and BPI have both indicated that they are petitioning. They understood from the policy that they would have to do that. And I talked with Stacy New, and she indicated that they would be petitioning for $25,000.
Okay, and are there anybody owe us, well, they all owe us the complete packet that we
Well,
required?
we have all of the packets in. We even have packets from VNA and BPI.
Okay.
But the board had decided that if they're petitioning, we don't need that
Right.
information. Because you either get on the ballot and you get approved or you don't. But we have all of the information from all of the other agencies.
Okay.
And we'll copy all of that and give it to
Do
you.
any of them want to come in and talk to us during the budget process?
I think the only one you're probably gonna wanna talk to is
Library?
the Bennington Free Library. They're asking for a 5% increase.
Yeah. But we should offer, if any of them wanna talk to us, we ought to offer them the
They're all,
opportunity.
I don't know that they would, I mean, they're all asking for level funding.
Right,
North Bennington, John McCullough Library's up a little bit, but not significant,
okay,
so.
And BCRC, that's
That's a
a
dues paying.
dues paying, so
Right.
that doesn't,
Yep.
okay.
Could you just maybe educate me as far as petition required versus just automatic allocation? Require
The-
some-
The board passed a policy 2 years ago that basically says that if you are asking for $7,500 or less, we will not require you to petition unless you're a first-time requester. Then you have to get on the ballot via petition. But if you're asking for level funding and you're asking for the level that you got last year, the board will place you on the ballot at that request, provided you provide an application, financial statements, 3 years, tax returns, several other pieces that you'll just love to look at as you get buried with paper. But basically, the board was saying to the agencies, look, if you stay level and you're asking for level, this is what we'll do for you.
That's 7,500 or less.
7,500 or less. And so you see that most of these people are asking for level funding, and they have been level at that level for probably the last 3 years. Now, if I remember the policy correctly, next year, because it was the 3rd year, everybody will have to petition.
And we should probably look at what the minimum is, just from an inflation standpoint as well, if we're gonna do that again.
It really could throw these numbers
Yeah, sure.
a lot higher
Mhm.
if everybody was successful.
And we exempted the libraries, so that's why John McCullough can
Yeah,
get
the
away with
library,
that.
the 2 libraries go into the budget, they're not shown on the ballot. BCRC goes into the budget, it's not shown on the ballot. And Parent Recreations is talking with me and has been talking with Timmy about whether or not the board would consider placing them in the budget. Because they are a public entity
Right.
providing a recreational opportunity in town as opposed to an agency that's operating independently and not necessarily serving all of the Bennington residents. So that's something we'll talk about at budget time.
Could there be additions to the list?
If
By
they
petition,
petition.
yes.
Yeah.
So anybody could petition to be on this list, any agency or group?
Or not for profit?
Yeah.
Generally not for profit, yes.
The petitioning to be added to the ballot.
Right.
Or to the,
Right.
To get on
To
the
the
vote.
have an
right?
article on the ballot, that's right.
But it's not that easy. And we haven't heard of anybody else out there. Center for Restorative Justice, which you see on the list here, lost a year ago. They were defeated, and they just don't have the manpower to go out and get 500 signatures to get back on the ballot. So they understand that loss hurt them, but it wasn't a lot of money, but nonetheless.
So, just for my information and maybe else as well, you said that if there's level funding, they don't have to petition, but if they increase, even if it's less than 7,500, if it's an increase, so if I'm looking at Parent Recreation, if they wanted to jump up to even 3,000, they would have to petition,
Yes.
okay. But automatically they are on the ballot this year for 2,700. If they were to get voted down, do they then have to petition next year?
They'll have to petition next year anyway,
And, well,
unless,
because of 3
Right.
years is up.
unless we decide to carve them out, because they're truly not an agency.
Right.
Not a nonprofit agent, they're a nonprofit organization, but they provide a.
Well, I know they bring a lot of
Municipal
events to that area.
Yeah.
I mean, full moon
And that
parties,
may
I
be
think they
something
have
we
throughout
take
the
a look
winter,
at
so.
with the North Bennington Recreation and just move those folks into the budget instead of putting them out on the ballot.
Right.
Anything else, Tom?
So we basically are gonna look at the budget, and we'll be looking at these numbers during the budget process?
Yes. We generally map out a time at the end to go over all the agencies.
So if they're all approved, and you take out the libraries, you're looking at about $100,000 added to the total budget,
Which is about,
which is about a penny.
Penny on the tax rate.
And I think last year was the first year that I can remember anybody not getting it passed, and that was the Center for Restorative Justice.
and just following up on that, Joe, when we talk about an increase in the tax rate of 2 to 4 cents, we're including all of the agencies
Right.
at level funding at last year.
Right.
So the slight increases that they get probably won't affect the tax rate too dramatically,
Right,
if they're all approved.
okay. Good, Tom?
Yeah,
Great.
excellent.
I'm good, thank
Jim? John?
All set?
Sharon?
Nothing. Merry Christmas,
Okay,
everyone.
I got a few things.
Bless you.
First of all, Congressman Welch will be in Bennington on Wednesday. His schedule is 9:30 to 10, he'll be at WBTN with, I forget the guy's name, did me the other day.
Dave?
Same guy did you, Jimmy.
Dave Lively
No, not
or
Bob.
Bob Avier? Bob Avier?
Yeah. And then at 10 to 11:30, he'll be traveling and visiting Vermont Hangar in North Bennington. Then 11:30, he'll be at the Welcome Center. If anybody wants to see him up there. And then he'll leave there to be at Jensen's at 12:15 for his thing he does, Congressman in the Community Program. And he uses Jensen's back room there. He'll be there for an hour to 1:15. Then he'll be coming here. And then Mike Harrington will be taking him. Stuart will be talking to him. Mike Harrington will be taking him around downtown Bennington. He wants to.
Dan's actually gonna join him on the walk.
Dan's going to, okay, so they'll be doing a walkabout, for whatever time he feels like he wants to, he hasn't gotten anything, except he wants to talk to our town clerk at the end of the day, so.
Bring him by for a hot dog.
Yeah, so, yeah, there's some places if anybody wants to sit there, if you have not visited, Congressman Welch Peter, when he does these community things, they're very informative. I think he's been talking, I heard on the radio what he's gonna be talking about, some important things, I think one of them was the healthcare plan, national healthcare plan, he's gonna be talking about on the radio. And I'm sure there'll be questions on that and other things there, but, if you haven't met Peter, it's a good opportunity to meet Congressman Welch. And again, I intend to thank him for the work his staff and he is doing along with other congressional delegation on our Irene appeal, and our whole Irene thing. I mean, that they've been working hard on that, and we're not out of the woods yet, but, we're not sinking either, so, we're still there. Stuart, have you come up with a schedule yet for the budgets? Who's gonna be on the 4th?
I haven't decided yet, I was looking for your feedback, I mean, we could,
Okay.
you know, the one controversy, which was the Fuller Road item, has been pulled from the budget.
Yeah.
I talked to Mr. Gallant, who was one of those who was concerned, so I don't think we'll have much discussion about the highway budget, so if you wanna just start with the general fund, police and fire, bring those guys in first.
I personally like to do the public safety first,
Okay.
because I mean, as the vehicles with Paul coming in and the fire department, things of that sort,
It's a
but
big
that's just
part.
my personal, how about you guys?
It's the biggest part.
You wanna do that one first? We'll do
That's
the
fine.
public safety first,
Yep.
and then, we'll pick up, highway and, the general after that.
Okay.
And, if any of the agencies wanna talk to us on that second day, ought to do that.
Okay.
For you new guys, I will tell you that, well, first of all, I've asked to be taped, we're gonna be able to tape it.
As far as I know,
Okay.
Patty will be there.
We did this a couple years ago, I think it makes a lot of sense to do that, because the public's concerned, not concerned, they're interested in seeing how we go through the budget process. If you're new guys, I will tell you, I know Stuart will be looking for your feedback, how you think it goes, but, the staff comes in prepared, and, I would just tell you, as I go through the packet, I'm making notes on the things I'm gonna ask questions about, so what you got in your packet's not concrete, it's staff's recommendation, town manager's recommendation, of what our budget ought to be there. Now, and along with that, we've got, we should have all got a letter from, or email talking about about the school's budget thing, does anybody intend to go to that one? When is that, anybody knows, you got your computer there,
There's
is it
January
Thursday?
6th, I think, oh, I mean, BSD invitation?
BSD, it's this week, you know,
Well, there was one tonight.
Yeah, that was the one
Tonight,
conflicted
yeah.
with tonight that we were talking about.
okay, that's right,
And then the
Yeah, we can
13th
go to
is
that
when we
one.
were talking
yeah,
about
13th, we got another
combined
meeting,
thing.
yeah,
But we were
okay,
gonna try and do one with them before that and do
all
a
right,
dry run.
so we're still working on trying to do that?
Our next meeting for the group is January 6th, I believe,
Yeah,
at the SDSU offices, and then towards the end of January, we're gonna have a public forum.
okay,
Another thing, Joe, I meant to bring up, we get on the agenda, our development partners, to give us basically a report of what's happened over that first 6 months. I think it's probably time to see
Yep.
what
good,
they've been
good
doing.
thing.
If we get on the agenda when we can, you know, it's,
Can we do that first meeting in January?
We can?
I think it's a good time for it,
Yeah.
beginning of the year, be the first one. It's a good recommendation, Tom.
Thanks.
I see the emails going back and forth, I know it's still moving, it looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
You know, we talked about, it's on here, the thing about the grand list. And, example, we've given obviously a certificate of occupancy of Dollar General up here on Main Street. When will the value of that property be put on the grand list?
April 1,
April 1, so it'll affect next
Yeah.
year's grand list.
yes.
It's on now for nominal, right?
Actually, I mean, they built the thing in less than
Yeah.
5 months.
Yeah,
land.
it was
So,
incredible.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just land.
There were like
so-
worker bees out there.
So that, we know that's gonna be added, cause it's
Yes.
there.
Yes.
Now, with the permit process, as I understand, Act 250, everything on Walmart, we should see construction on that next year?
You probably won't see anything on Walmart for this grand list. The following year,
We'll
I
see that,
suspect
that thing.
they'll be at least proportionally done. I expect they build that thing pretty quickly, but.
Yeah, I imagine we'll go up quick. Is there any other major projects that we see coming up next year's, $1 million or more?
I don't know.
I can't
don't
think
know.
of any.
I'm not as tied to the permit
Okay.
process. I know we've seen growth in our single-family residential
Right.
permits this year. We've seen a number of other smaller industrial improvements. Price Chopper went through a major interior renovation. That generates some improvements in there, minimize some of their depreciation, which should increase the value of their building. Hard to say. I understand that where Charlie Wells
Right.
was, there'll be a new business
I heard that.
constructed there. I keep hearing that there's gonna be another restaurant coming into that
Right.
plaza when it's built. So there's some changes coming down the line. I suspect we'll see more growth in our grand list this year than we have over the last 3 years.
Yeah,
But I don't think it's gonna be significant yet.
okay. Then the last thing I wanna know is when are we gonna talk about the project on Northside Drive that we delayed this year? When are we gonna get the business owners, when are we gonna get Terry sit down, when are we gonna get everybody to make sure
We're
we
gonna,
lock this in this time? Because if not, we're really behind the power curve.
I mean, the project's been bid, we've already awarded the bid, the contractor has pre-purchased all of his materials, and they're being stockpiled. So as soon as the weather breaks, we're starting.
Okay,
And the goal is to have it done before the end of June.
okay,
And then we look to start what we call phase 4. We're actually doing phase 5 at this juncture because it was less expensive. Then phase 4 will be time to go through the Walmart construction project where they're doing their roundabout. We'll get through there before they get there. And one of the business owners there has asked us to time it so that we're going by her business after school is in session. So
okay,
we think we can do that. It'll work probably pretty well.
all right.
And so we'll be done with Northside Drive by winter of next year,
Very good.
2014.
That's all I have. We have no need for executive session. Does anybody wanna finish out with anything?
We got this invitation for the police association, police chiefs association. Are you gonna go to that?
I wasn't planning on it.
Is that an annual event?
It's an annual event. It's a
Yeah, I've
drive
been to
Mount
it.
Pelier.
I was up to it once.
They pack them all in there in the Capitol Plaza.
And,
They do, and all your legislators are
The
there.
legislators are there.
Then they take you across the street if you wanna sit in any of the committees or do whatever, so.
Bunch of speeches.
Kind of an
It's-
interesting
It's
day.
good. It's updated and,
I'm thinking about it, I might
Now,
go.
Paul's on the board, as you see,
Yeah.
so he'll be there. He can listen for me.
My compliments to the town crew. It was not an easy storm to get ready and through. I'm sure you got some comments from the folks around the neighborhood about how well or not so well things went.
Well, actually, we had very few complaints today. The biggest complaint that I had was the fact that when private plow trucks plow out these parking lots,
Yeah.
they leave the windrow of snow on the sidewalk. So we've already been through.
right.
And if you walk up Union Street today, you're up and over the hummocks and everything else. So we've either got to arrange it so that we come back around once the snow is cleared, before that stuff hardens. Of course, tonight it's going to be really cold, so it's probably going to be more difficult to clear.
Yeah, in front of Will's, it was about this deep.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
walking
Well,
over
and
here
there are a couple of
tonight.
places where they literally plowed in the sidewalk
Yeah,
to start the.
yeah, right next to Cray by the banner,
Yeah.
back the banners like that.
May I add something? What
Go ahead,
about
Sam.
fire hydrants? I know it's the first of the season, but I've been putting.
Mine's already dug out, Sam, I take care of that.
That's good, good.
You know, that brings up another thing, let's say we get that warm spell on Friday and Saturday, and this stuff starts melting along with that rain, and you get the slush to fill up these drains we have here. Does the crew go around and check those, is that, can we do that?
Yeah, we'll be ready for that rainstorm. I haven't talked with RJ at the end of today, but we're probably gonna, assuming that it doesn't snow too much tomorrow,
Right,
we'll probably try to remove much of the snow in the downtown area and by the schools and the post office, so
Yeah.
that when and if we do get a heavy rain and the snow does melt, we'll be able to stay ahead of it with the storm drain.
it could definitely cause some flooding if those
Yeah.
drains get with frozen ice down in those drains.
And the
Okay.
walls downtown are big, just
Yep.
after that snow.
The only complaint I heard is just the sidewalks again, and, you know, the priority, you know, the routes going to the hospital, routes for the school buses, those things
Yeah.
priority, and then,
People
then
can't
we
get
do
on
the
the
streets.
sidewalk from the street,
Yeah.
cause, you know, you gotta,
I know.
I know Sue Condon today, though, she had hers
Cleaned
shoveled
up,
out.
yeah.
But, you know, that's a good point, is, you know, just because the plow truck went by, doesn't mean you can't grab a shovel or a broom and go out and clean up after, you know, if the snow
Many of
blows
them-
around, and some people do and some people
of them do
don't.
and some of them don't,
And
they
it's,
expect the town to.
yeah, I mean, you know, I have a snow blower, and I know how close it gets to the ground, you know, I mean, everything, but I have to go out and clean up after that too, so. You know, safety's important, and everybody can jump in to help a little bit, don't
Okay,
just
well,
sit.
hopefully this tape will play before the holidays, but I'll say what I said the last time we were live. Keep thinking the safety issues during holidays. We don't wanna lose any of our folks during there through a fire or anything else that could occur, especially during New Year's. I'm sure our public safety folks will be out New Year's Eve checking, making sure, looking for assistance. Patrick?
Chad Schmidt's gonna be doing the ride home.
Safe rides on New Year's Eve?
Good. So if you haven't heard that, our sheriff department is doing a great job, they always do. And if you get a phone call there, don't drive, don't get on the road, it's not worth it for yourself or anybody out there you might meet. So be safe, and let's see everybody back here and see everybody on the 4th. Everybody have a Merry Christmas. Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor? And that's unanimous.